What's up, sports fans? It's your man D back. Speak your mind, sports talk. All right, check it out, man. I want to talk about this Shawn Porter #1 ranking for the WBO uh, right now. Now, already a lot of people are coming out and they're speaking about basically how Shawn Porter is the mandatory for Terence Crawford. You know, a lot of people want to jump the gun on this. Echo, what's good with your daily boxing in the building? So, I mean, you guys know people just jump the gun. They get some of the reports and this, that, and the third. And then now, as I understand it, just because he's ranked #1, doesn't automatically make him the mandatory. Now, there's validity to him being ranked #1. However, I've not heard him being established as that mandatory yet. Oh, but yet I see a lot of people coming out talking about Shawn Porter, the mandatory. Okay, but here's the thing with this. I really, to me, it doesn't matter if he's the mandatory or not. We look at this Brook fight that Terence Crawford, supposed to be discussing or whatever, and nothing's even set in stone with that Kell Brook fight. Uh, they have not signed any contracts. They don't have a venue picked out. Nothing. Nothing's been set in stone about that. And there's a lot of YouTube videos coming out right now as we speak. Breaking news: Shawn Porter is now Crawford's mandatory. Shawn Porter, #1 in the WBO, becomes Crawford mandatory. Shawn Porter forces Terence Crawford to face him. So I'm seeing all these videos and I'm like, what? Is there any validity to this? Right? So according to the WBO, yeah, he's just been ranked. Boxing Monster, what's good? All right, hold on right quick, Boxing Monster and JDY. Let me YouTube on the fritz, man. My notifications are terrible. It's never going out for some reason. Not really till I start putting them out, till people come through. Uh but anyway, while I'm doing that, there's no indication. I mean, I haven't heard anything that he's the mandatory. Because like to me, the WBA, I mean, not the WBA, sorry. The WBC played this game forever. They played this same game forever. Let me make sure I'm live. But they played the same game basically where Dillian White was the #1, but they never mandated him. This is why he waited all of that time. They moved Dominic Brazil up in front of him. He was the mandatory. They always kept playing the games with the mandatory, although he was ranked #1. And I would think that people would learn from that situation. How they rank #1, but they may not necessarily be mandatory. I think a lot of people may be jumping the gun on this. And although a lot of us want Terence Crawford to fight Shawn Porter, I want him to fight Shawn Porter. Pretty sure there's a lot of people that want Terence Crawford to fight Shawn Porter. But if he ain't the mandatory, if he just ranked #1, then it's just like the same thing that we go through time and time again. If the dude's not ranked #1, then we can't force Crawford to do anything. Now, on Crawford's part and on Bob Arum's part, like the fans really shouldn't even have to force him. The way I see it, he shouldn't even have to be forced. Like he should just get in there, kill two birds with one stone. If Shawn Porter is your mandatory, or even if he's ranked #1, nobody really want to see a fight with you and Kell Brook. They should be trying to make that fight happen. That's the way I look at that. They should be trying to make that fight happen. You kill two birds with one stone. You take out the #1 guy, at least the #1 guy in your ranking. We would have to say Errol Spence is the number one guy, I guess, next to Crawford. But that's the best opponent that you can take in your sanctioning body. No one cares about a Kell Brook. And as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure the WBO would have to rank him to even get into a fight with Terence Crawford. Right? Because the opponent has to be ranked a certain number. Top 10 or better to even get the fight with the champion. So they will have to sit there and rank Kell Brook at 147 to even get a fight. Shawn Porter's already ranked number one. So who do you think the fans would rather see, you fight the number one ranked guy or the fight of Kell Brook, who's just handed a ranking? Sort of like Daniel Dubois just getting his number two ranking. That was bought. That was paid for. I don't think anybody would argue Shawn Porter being ranked number one. And if you do, you idiot. Because if not Porter, who else? Who's ranked higher than Shawn Porter? So I don't think we would get any feedback or pushback about Shawn Porter being ranked number one. Joshua Littlejohn, what's good with you? And that's my whole thing about this Shawn Porter situation and being ranked the number one WBO contender. What are the odds that we get this fight now? And if Crawford starts to get flamed because he's not taking Porter, then everybody got the right to at this point. Why not give him flame? What is the excuse now? Now, Porter said he called him and asked him about the fight. He's already fought Formella. This was prior to the Formella fight. He already fought Formella. Porter asked him. He said he's not interested in the fight right now. He got a lot of things going on or whatever the hell Crawford said. Well, what does he got going on now? Because you can't get the WBA. The way that looks is Mikey Garcia is probably going to be seeing Terence Crawford. So it's safe. I mean, I'm sorry. Mikey Garcia is probably going to be seeing Manny Pacquiao. So it's safe to say you can't get the WBA. Errol Spence is locked up with Danny Garcia. He has the other two belts. So you can't do anything with that. So you might as well defend well your title against the number one ranked opponent, which is Shawn Porter. At this point, the number one ranked guy is Shawn Porter. Now, again, as far as this mandatory situation and all of that's concerned, that's a whole nother story. What's up, IBT?
Yeah, how you doing? I'll let you do your intro.
No, I did.
That was it? Alright. So, yeah, I saw he's number one. I don't know if he's going to be made as mandatory. I don't think he has a mandatory due for a while, but I think that'd be a cool matchup. Personally, one I think would be really good for Crawford. Porter's very reputable at welterweight, multiple time champion, always been in a tough fight for everyone, and yeah.
What? When was the WBOs? Because I don't know. When was the
Mean
WBO
Machine.
mandatory satisfied?
Mean Machine.
That was considered a mandatory fight?
Yeah, I think.
I don't think that was I didn't think that was a mandatory fight because I heard someone else say that. I'm gonna look that up right now, bro. Because I heard someone say that about Kell before. And I might be mistaken on that, but I don't believe that was a mandatory fight with Kell. I don't want to go arguing on that.
Yeah,
Because,
he was a mandatory. I'm googling right now to double check.
all right. Well, go ahead and check that out. Yeah, because yours will probably move quicker than mine anyway. I don't
Yeah,
want to mess up the
he's
live.
The Zone said it here. CBS Sports said it. ESPN said it. Do you need other ones?
No. If they say he was the mandatory, okay, he was the mandatory.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would push it back. He wouldn't have to satisfy. What is it? 2 years, right?
I thought it was like 18. I can check. I thought it was 18 months.
Oh, okay, so he has time.
And
But
that fight was in December. So it's been 9 months.
look, Joshua says all the PBC fights that I like Shawn Porter and Keith Thurman are my favorites. Yeah, that was a good fight between those two. No doubt. No doubt. That was a good, solid fight between those two. I think Keith edged it out. Um, I always would have liked to see them two get back at it again, to tell you the truth. But yeah, I agree with that. All right, those dudes are all.
Yeah, and Joshua Littlejohn Spence is a unified champion. He won his first title against Kell Brook, the IBF title, and then he recently unified with Shawn Border. He won by split decision, knocked him down. I forget what round.
Yeah. Iceman in the building. I like the new logo, Iceman. I like that. He said, "Will Porter want a mandatory split though?"
Actually, that's true. Yeah, I don't know if you'd want a mandatory split. I don't think they're that good. I think they get like the short end of the stick.
Oh yeah. See, that's the part of the politics. I don't know what. So what is the deal with this mandatory split? Break that down.
Um, I can check right now. Like I'm saying, I don't know too much about the financials behind mandatories and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
me either. Me either.
And
I
when
won't
and
even
when
lie.
they're due, sometimes it's kind of iffy. If you have multiple titles, or if especially with COVID, it's unprecedented that something like this happens. So I'm sure they've delayed mandatories by a little bit, but it's interesting that they put him at number one. So I'm just gonna check into that really quick.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, because Mauricio Suleiman just pushed back the mandatories for a year
Yeah,
because
yeah,
due,
it kind of
due to
sucks.
the COVID pandemic. So he just pushed it back for a year, right?
Yeah, but he's an idiot. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, still, but that would give like any other sanctioning body. My point is the door,
Yeah, no,
open
yeah,
door to,
yeah.
like, you know what I mean? It's like
The
opening the
precedent.
camera worms and shit. Since he pushed it back, well, yeah, that makes sense. Nobody can complain about that. We had a pandemic, so we're gonna push it back. I mean, you know how these guys do. Anything that benefits the sanctioning body, and pushing the mandatory back, or not disrupting the fight, could definitely disrupt, benefit them as far as their money. So they will follow suit, in my opinion, and do the same foolishness.
Hmm.
That's just how I look at it. Let me see. Salute Chain TC in the building. Joshua Little John says, so Spence is the unified champ at welterweight. Then why is he catching all this hell? Because Spence had multiple opportunities. At least let's say the Spence side had multiple opportunities, Joshua, to fight Crawford already. And the whole idea was for them two to get it on, but Spence was playing the PBC game, basically, and that fight never materialized. Now I've given Spence heat for ducking Crawford on that situation, because I put a video up not too long ago, Joshua, maybe some months ago, that Errol Spence and Danny Garcia, they agreed in principle to fight each other before Danny Garcia got into that Adrian Granados fight, and before Errol Spence was even in the Porter fight, which essentially means if they agree to have this match against each other, which they're having it, then Crawford was never in the plans for either. And so Spence had every opportunity. Why are you okay? We can give you a pass for fighting Shawn Porter. You're going to unify. But why are you already establishing a fight after that? Before you even get into the fight with Shawn, before the deal is even done. Back in January, Errol Spence and Danny Garcia agreed to fight in principle. So Crawford was never in the fucking plan. So when people say he ducked Crawford, you can't argue that, because he was never in the plans. And that's just plain proof of that, bro. And the fact that Danny Garcia and Spence, you could say the accident, whatever you want. The fact that they're the ones fighting now, it validates what that was saying about him ducking that fight, fam. So this is why he's catching all kind. That's one of the reasons he's catching all kind of hell. Joshua Lil John. He said, I wasn't aware Spencer's unified champ. Yeah, he's unified. He got 2 belts. He beat Shawn Porter. He got the WBC and the IBF belt. That I'm happy for Shawn Porter for the ranking. Don't talk bad about other fighters or all the fight. Yeah, Shawn Porter's a pretty classy guy. I don't like Shawn Porter's character, and I don't really have a problem with Shawn Porter. A lot of people have a problem with Shawn Porter right now because they said at one time Crawford offered him to fight. He basically said the same thing that Crawford said now. Fair enough. I can't really, debate that, and I wouldn't. Fair enough. But what I always say about that is that Crawford and Porter really did have more options, and that was the case. There really was more options out there, because this was prior to the pandemic. Porter had his situation, he had Spence, he had options. Terence Crawford, his options are limited right now. So although Shawn Porter did turn it down and said the same thing Terence Crawford said initially, and then after that, they both mutually agreed. And then now we're here with Crawford, where Porter's side wants to fight and he's not interested. Okay. And the people say, well, Shawn Porter said it first. Are we fucking kindergartners here? It doesn't matter who says it first or second. Shawn Porter was an idiot for not fighting Crawford. Now Crawford's an idiot. Does that mean he's not an idiot for not taking this fight? Like, what are we talking about here? And now the fact that Shawn Porter's ranked number one, because again, I'm not sure about all this mandatory nonsense, but because he's ranked number one, this is a perfect opportunity for you to do everything you're supposed to do. This will prove your worth. This is a valid fight because regardless of what Bob Arum tries to lead on to, regardless of how confident Kell Brook is in himself, and regardless of this foolery Terence Crawford says about Brook being a valid opponent, that fight is complete garbage. That is a garbage fight, fam. And I hear some Crawford fans talking about a common opponent with Spence. Well, then let's talk about it. Let's talk about him being a common opponent with Spence and just the amount of credit Spence got for beating him in the UK while he had the belt. People still was shitting on Spence after that win. You only beat up a broken down fighter in Kell Brook after the GGG. He didn't get massive credit for that. So how in 2020, when Brook has been through the wars, he doesn't look anywhere near the Kell Brook that he was when he was a beaten up, broke down Kell Brook. He's not even that efficient. Now, how in 2020 is that a valid fight for Terence Crawford? I mean, he's the boogeyman. He's above Spence. So it wasn't valid for Spence back then. Now, all of a sudden, it's valid for Crawford now? How does that make sense? Somebody please tell me, how does that make sense? And how is this anywhere close to being valid as a fight with Shawn Porter, who's ranked number one for the WBO? How does that work? Because with me, it just simply don't. Martin Machine said, well, good chatting, DJ. Go ahead, IBT. I thought you was about to say something.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say he's number one, but he's not mandatory at all. We're just checking to see what they would get if they were mandatory. Don't let that don't conflate number one contender with mandatory. Those things are different. Right. The mandatory hasn't been called yet, obviously. So
exactly. And that's what I was looking for before I started this live. I actually had it set at 320 or 315 or something like that at first, but I was still looking for information to see if he was announced mandatory. And I hadn't seen anything about him being announced Crawford's mandatory yet, but I have seen that he's been ranked number one. So that's been confirmed, but I don't have any confirmation at this point that Shawn Porter was announced as mandated for Terence Crawford. I don't see that anywhere. I feel Crawford can beat him. It won't be easy. Yeah, I think Crawford wins. I'm not putting Shawn Porter over Crawford. No. Crawford has enough and has shown enough to say, but this is a fight. This is a fight that he could lose in. Right? Isn't that what we want to see the best guys do? Get into a fight where they could possibly lose? I feel like Crawford is getting frozen out on the low. Well, I don't know, man. Okay. Pacquiao situation, Joshua Lil John, is specifically due to the fans, okay? It's specifically due to the fans. That's the with the Pacquiao situation. It's way too much of a marquee fight for them to even attempt to throw on with no fans. So that's a WBA though, so he can't be getting frozen from that. That's the pandemic that caused it. He gets a hold of that WBA, then it would be Spence that would be freezing himself out because you need those other two belts. Now Spence is holding the IBF and the WBC, but to me, he's being no more frozen out of unifying than Crawford is, because Bob Arum, that's right, fucking Bob Arum and Al getting in between this fight. And for any of y'all that don't believe that Bob Arum don't got nothing to do with getting in between this fight, you fucking crazy. So my whole point is, if you say Crawford's getting frozen out on the low, how? How? He's not going through anything different than what Spence is going through right now, in my opinion. Spence can't get Manny Pacquiao. Crawford can't get Manny Pacquiao. Al Haymon not really trying to make that Crawford fight right now. Bob Arum not really trying to make that Crawford fight right now. So what is Crawford doing any different from Errol Spence right now? Or how is he getting frozen out?
Yeah, so my main thing is he doesn't really seem upset, right? Like he seems to be like, oh, whatever about it. At first,
Right.
I used to kind of be upset that I felt he was being frozen out, but I don't see an effort from them to reach out to Al Haymon or Spence or Pacquiao to make a fight. I know they've been talking about it, but I actually haven't seen anything. And I know what Bob was talking about recently was in order to make the Pacquiao fight, they would need someone else to put up money, like a Saudi Arabia, right? But at this time, I don't think any countries are looking to do that, and I just don't see it. I just don't see them pulling out the wallet either. So if they won't pull out the wallet to make a big fight like this, then of course the fight's not going to be made. You have Crawford fans asking why Porter isn't sending an offer, or Danny Garcia isn't sending an offer. And I'm a fan of Crawford. When I say Crawford fan, I mean like super fans, right?
Right.
Like defenders is probably a better word. Crawford defenders, and I
Right.
would say, why aren't they sending an offer? It's because they're the challenger, right? You don't see challengers sending offers to champions. The champions,
Exactly.
they're the A side, so the A side sends the offer to the B side.
Exactly. It's just like the foolery that I was talking about with Tank Davis. What did Ellaby say when Tevin Farmer and them sent him a $4 million offer than they sent to Tevin Farmer? They don't send offers. We send offers. The A side sends offers. Right? Ain't that what Ellaby said? The A side said they don't send offers. We don't accept anything. We send the offers. But then as soon as the shit hit the fan, they start talking, well, why didn't they send the offer? Come on with this foolishness, man. Come on with this foolishness. Bob Arum is always boastful about, I sent them a $10 million offer. I sent them $5 million offer. You always boasting on the offers you send. Now all of a sudden it's cold silent. No offers being sent for Crawford. Get the fuck out of here with this, bro.
Yeah,
Offer
yeah.
me. Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. To your point, Ellerby was saying, oh, we send the offers. We're the A side, and they sent less money in their offer
Right, right. And
for
then turn
both.
down more money.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I
It,
mean?
it
Like, come on
it's
with this
it's
nonsense,
really
man.
dumb. It's so stupid, especially since they were both champions. It was really dumb. Neither of them should have been the A side. It should have just been a neutral offer.
Yeah, Joshua. Keith Thurman's an idiot. He need to keep playing his flute on the mountain. That's what it is. Just keep playing your flute on the mountain, because ain't nobody paying you no $10 million to get your ass kicked again. Because that's basically what they'll be doing. Paying him $10 million just to get his ass whipped again. You got all the money you're gonna get for an ass kicking in that Manny Pacquiao fight. Now the next ass kicking is gonna be for a lot less money, Keith Thurman. Nobody wants to pay you $10 million to see you get beat up again. So go smack yourself and sit on the mountain and play your flute. That's what you do, Keith Thurman. He's an idiot. Keith Thurman, you idiot. Wouldn't even give that fool $5 million. He said, I shitted on the Brook win for Spence, so I can't really turn around And big up the win for Crawford. Thank you. Thank you. See, that's somebody being reasonable about it. And that's all I'm saying about anyone else. I really don't care because I gave Spence credit, but don't fucking sit up here and try to make it like it's a big fight now when y'all didn't give credit. Because here's the thing, bro. All of the people that's trying to make it valid for Crawford, it's the Crawford protectors. It's the ones that say, nah, y'all coming down too hard on Crawford and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Y'all giving Crawford unjust flame. Okay. Those are the Crawford protectors. None of y'all Crawford protectors gave Spence that same benefit of doubt when he beat Kell Brook. And this was years ago. A better Kell Brook. I don't care if he was coming off of a DDDI situation or not. Even that Kell Brook coming off that DDDI situation is better than the Kell Brook we have today. And you guys didn't give Spence no credit for that. And the motherfucker had a title. And Spence went to his backyard. And he got no credit. This will be a broken down, even more broken down Kell Brook coming to America without a fucking title. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? How the hell does that work? How does he get any credit? That's why I'm not giving him credit, especially if he fights Kell Brook, but he has this fight in front of him. He's just not going to get credit. He's going to get flamed. I want to talk about cherry picks and ducks. They quit to call Danny Garcia a cherry pick. Well, if Shawn Porter is your number one ranked contender, you have nothing signed with Brook. You have nothing set in stone. And Shawn Porter is your number one ranked contender for your title. How the hell is it not a cherry pick to fight Shawn Porter? I mean, to fight Kell Brook. Somebody please tell me that. How would this not be considered a cherry pick on Terence Crawford's behalf? Somebody please explain that to me. Because to me, what do you think, IBT? It's a cherry pick, no?
I don't even necessarily think it's a cherry pick. I just think it's a poor matchup. I just think it's a poor matchup. I didn't give Spence much credit.
Okay. Hold on. Now, again, I'm not even going to give him that benefit of the doubt that it's just a poor matchup. Because let's talk Danny Garcia now. Let's talk Danny Garcia. And the whole premise of Danny Garcia is that he don't want to challenge himself to take the tougher fight. This is a fight that he knows he can win. This is why they call him a cherry pick. Now, I'm going to fast forward to Crawford. He don't want to take the tougher fight. Kell Brook is a fight that he and every fucking body else know he can win. So why is it not a cherry pick? We got to keep the same fucking energy. This would be a fucking cherry pick.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see by that definition why I'd call it a cherry pick. I think it's just
world champion.
I think.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I think it's just like a staircase step above a cherry pick. That just because Kell Brook used to be someone at least.
Right.
That's the only reason why. But if you call, yeah, I mean, I guess considering he hasn't made 147 in a long time, and last time he did, he was stopped, and the time before that fight, he got stopped, and he's literally had his face broken twice. Hasn't made the weight. Has expressed his difficulty in making the weight. Yeah, I guess so. I really don't want to see this matchup at all. Like, actually, for Kell Brook's health, I think him making 147 and fighting someone like Crawford is a bad idea.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like, what are the chances? Like, with anybody who wouldn't want to say, and mostly Crawford fans, not honest Crawford fans like you, but anybody that would want to say that this is not a cherry pick, then you tell me what chances do you give Kell Brook of winning? Because I got it like 80-20, 90-10.
I think, yeah, I was going to say 80-20 is too wide for me.
Right. 80-20, 90-10. So if you tell me if you have it yourself as like 90-10, do you have the fucking Porter fight as 90-10? Fuck
not
no.
Even close. No.
Fuck no, which means that's a fucking cherry pick, dude. The fucking cherry pick. Because if Errol Spence did it, if Canelo did it, if Anthony Joshua did it, if Teofimo Lopez did it, what the fuck would it be called? A fucking cherry pick. It would be called a cherry pick quick fast. Oh, Teofimo know he could beat that dude. Why don't he go fight Haney? Canelo knew he can beat Yimdrum. Why don't he go fight Turner? AJ know he can beat Fury. Why would he go fight Takam or whoever the fuck? They would kill him for a cherry pick. But now with Crawford, he's supposed to get a pass. Get the fuck out of here with that shit, fam. We got to keep the same energy with this Terence Crawford. Now, this Section 5 defense of the title. Each WBO world champion, except the heavyweight division, shall defend his title at intervals not greater than 9 months, counting from the date of the acquisition thereof, from the last, what's that, compulsory defense, as the case may be, in 12 round in a 12-round fight against the mandatory challenger as determined by the championship committee according to the regulation, unless an exception is made pursuant to these regulations. For reasons unique to the heavyweight division, the WBO world champion in the heavyweight division shall defend his title. You moved it up too quick, but even
Yeah,
still,
sorry. The actual part is down here. Shall not defend his titles at intervals not greater than 12 months, counting from the date of acquisition, therefore, of the last compulsory defense, as the case may be, in a 12-round fight against the mandatory challenger as determined by the championship committee according to these regulations, unless an exception is made pursuant to these regulations. So it seems once a year.
right? Which means
And
Sean
really
Porter,
quick. Yeah,
Sean Porter should be up real soon.
So well, because they pushed it back a year, he has to fight. Assuming he keeps his ranking or doesn't.
They haven't pushed it back yet. They haven't pushed anything back. Only the WBC has made that move.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're right.
See?
WBC. Okay, so
right, the WBC is the only one that made that move. So as far as right now, Sean Porter, coming October, to be his fucking mandatory.
No, in December, because that's when he fought Aegis in 2019.
Right.
They would call Porter as his mandatory. So that's when he officially becomes, instead of number one contender, that's when he would become his mandatory.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Which
gives him to about, like, I don't know, halfway through 2021 to fight Porter.
Exactly. Glenn Avery in the building. What's good? Willie Williams. Lady Jack, what's good? Lydia Dawn's got Queens up in the building. Appreciate you. Willie Williams said Crawford is allowing Bob to make these whack fights for him. You don't let no one drag your legacy. Exactly, Willie Williams. Exactly. And he's sitting back, just like IBT said, acting complacent about this shit. Like there's no worries, no cares. He's way too complacent about the bullshit that's going on with Bob Arum. I would be screaming to high heaven. Look, we got to think about this. Crawford came from 147. What did he say he wanted to do? He wanted to clean out the division. He wanted to beat everybody. None of them could. So if Bob is making you basically look like a joke at 147, but your ambitions was to come to 147 and prove that you're the best, he's not helping your cause. He's not helping your cause at all. Because it's getting to the point where only Crawford fans feel like he's the best. It's getting to the point where a lot of people that had him at pound for pound number one say he don't deserve to be there anymore. This is what Bob Arum has established for you. That's all Bob Arum has established for him. The way I see it, you're being questioned now. You were supposed to come up here and achieve, take guys out, so that there aren't any questions. That's all there is about you now, are questions. That's what you guys have accomplished at 147. A questionable run at 147. That's all Crawford is right now. I don't care who to like it or not. He has a questionable run at 147 till he proves something or proves some more. Because I don't want to take the Jeff Horns and the Benavides and the Khan that didn't really want to fight. I don't want to take that away from him. So he has to prove a little more. Let's say that. Joshua says A-side, B-side thing is fucking up the sport. Yeah, that's for sure. What's up, Smoke? Get the Smoke in the building. My man, France on 2. What's good with you, France? Appreciate you. Let me see. Slide down to the chat. Keith Thurman. You like that, Lydia? He need to go play his damn flute. That damn Keith Thurman, man. Everybody said, I agree, D. This is my opinion or version of Brook hasn't fought at 147. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know what that was supposed to
This
be, but
this is
Warren,
I agree, D. This, in
it's a
my opinion,
Warren,
sorry, no. I agree, D. This, in my opinion, is a worse version of Brook.
a
As in,
worse. Okay, right. I
yeah,
was trying to unscramble that. A worse version of. Yeah, it is, bro. It is a worse version, and I'm not trying to bash Kell Brook, but he's simply not what he used to be. Let's be honest. And then when you talk about him, if he's not what he used to be, we knew he was draining himself. Like, okay, we know he was draining himself back then to get down to 147 to fight Spence. But the reason I wasn't having too much problem with that because Spence was draining him fucking self. And he just came out and admitted that. And that's what I used to tell everybody. I'm like, okay, y'all making this big deal about uh Brook draining himself, but y'all always accuse Spence and talk shit to him. He's draining himself to get down to 147. Listen to what y'all said. Y'all always talking shit about Spence, about draining himself to get down to 147. But now y'all gonna give Brook an excuse for draining himself? I was like, it's a wash. That means they both draining themselves. Is that right or wrong? That means they both draining themselves. So now you're talking about a Brook who's not where he was before, but still has to drain himself. Get the fuck out of here, bro. That means he's way easier to get through. Imagine if Errol Spence back then had to fight this Brook that Crawford's gonna. It would have been a one-sided fight, man. People gotta be honest. If this Kell Brook draining down to 147 would have went in that ring with Spence, it would have been a one-sided fight, bro. Let's be honest about it. But now Crawford's supposed to get respect for that win? And a pass
yeah,
for not fighting Porter?
yeah.
Come
No, no.
on, dog. Come the fuck on with this. Like,
And you know what else? You know what else? I don't know if he could fight Porter right now since Porter did just fight Formella. I think he might be suspended for like a couple months, right? In terms of the athletic commission. But I know for sure, just looking at what his last purse was versus Kavilaskis, I think he got around 5.5 or $6 million to fight him. So now the wheels are turning in my head. I understand why he doesn't mind fighting these guys who are like fringe top 10. It's because, or like they used to be someone like Amir Khan, right? And Aegis, who was the mandatory fringe top 10. He's getting paid good money to fight these guys. Like 6 million for Aegis is very solid.
right,
That's a good payday.
right. Thank you, unbiased. This is the shit that I'm talking about. Thank you, unbiased. Let's keep it even. Because motherfuckers calling Danny a cherry pick for Spence. Even my man Nuke said, okay, it's a cherry pick, right? Because Spence picked him before the accident. And I was right on there. I was right on Nuke's live when he said it. And I said, facts, Nuke. And it has to be facts because of the whole shit that I just explained about how him and Danny Garcia, cherry picking ass, agreed to fight each other before they fought Porter and Adrian Granados. So if Nuke comes out and say, no, it's a fucking cherry pick because Spence agreed to fight this dude when he didn't have a chin problem. Facts. You can't argue that. But then y'all gonna sit around and not call Brook a cherry pick? Come on, bro. And then cats like Black and Brown don't want to come up here and say, I don't keep the same energy. I wonder if Black and Brown singing this song about Terence Crawford. See, since I don't keep the same, is it a duck? Is it a cherry pick or whatever you want to call it? Let's keep the same energy. Iceman said, yo, what do you think about Eddie's new October schedule? I have not seen it. Have you seen it, IBT?
No, I don't.
You think you
Where
can
can I
pull it
find
up
it?
right quick?
Yeah, I'm gonna look for it.
All right, Eddie Hearn, we get ready to go over it in a minute, Iceman. We got the analytics specialist on the live today. My man IBT in the building. Got that right. Soccer Training Club, what's good with you, fam? France on two said, all right, brother, looking forward to it. I think we need more African American brothers in the arts literatures. Oh, y'all must be talking about something else. Iceman said 90-10. Brook way past it. Exactly, Iceman. Way past it. Get this smoke. Love smoke. You're a madman. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he do love smoke. Dang, y'all just in the panel putting Kell Brook out the pasture. He looked good in his last fight. I think Brook still is capable of shocking up. Man, listen, Joshua. He looked good in his last fight. Where? This is what you got to take into account. And when I
Yeah.
say where, I mean at what weight and against what opponent. Let me be more specific. He looked good in his last fight. At what weight, Joshua, and against what level of opponent? This is what we have to keep in mind. He would be draining himself down and going to a much higher level opponent. That's what you have to think about. So it's like it's not if it takes an opponent at the level that Brook just fought, Joshua, for him to look good, that tells the whole story. Because if you're the Brook that you're gonna look good, or at least battle with anyone. You know, it's not going to take a low level. That's what we watched Tank Davis do for so many years. Look good fighting low level opponents. That's the illusion of boxing. Hell, that's the illusion of combat sports. You get these guys that look phenomenal fighting low level competition. Deontay Wilder, for example, he looked phenomenal fighting these guys that were ranked 158th or lower. But then, soon as he steps up in there with a Luis Ortiz, who's not ranked number one, he gets beat for 7 rounds. Then when he goes up a little higher up the chain and fights a Tyson Fury, he gets punished. So it's all about who did he look good against and at what weight. So, you know, no, I'm not frying Brook, but Brook is a shell of himself, Joshua. That's just a fact. Brook, Khan, their best fight, the best fight for Brook and Khan, Joshua, is Brook and Khan. That's the best fight for those two guys, in my opinion. The best fight for those two guys is those two guys. As far as the money's concerned, what it means, and anything. Any other fights are relevant because they're not going to beat anybody significant, and anybody they beat are probably not going to be at a high level. So the best fight that they can fight is each other. What's the hold up on that? Now, in Kell Brook's situation, this is totally beneficial for him to get into a fight with Crawford because he doesn't deserve a title shot. There's nothing that warrants him getting a title. So this is perfectly okay for Brook's situation. But you're just going to get an ass whooping. That's all that you get ready to do. You're just signing up for an ass whooping. Because he's not going to beat Crawford. I would bet any money he ain't going to beat Crawford. Lydia Dawn said, D, who can Bud fight right now? This is not a cherry pick. They can fight right now. They can be made without no bullshit from the other side. Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter.
No,
Al
no,
Heyman. No,
he
hold
can't
on.
fight Porter now.
No. Not right now. But I'm saying, when I say right now, this is the fight that they can start putting in works. This is the fight that they can start putting in work. Man, fuck the Brook fight. Cancel that. Throw that in the trash. Start negotiating the Porter fight. Right now. Right now. That's how I look at it. Right now, he can start negotiating that fight. Shit, they're gonna have to set up venues. They're gonna have to make a date and all of that. So Shawn Porter got plenty of time to get past the restrictions laid on the sanctioning bodies or the boxing commission. He's got plenty of time to get through that. Start making the fight with Porter right now. And the reason I say there's no bullshit from the other side, Lydia Dawn, Al Heyman and them don't run Kenny Porter. Kenny Porter and Shawn Porter run their business. If Kenny Porter wanted that fight, guarantee to you. Shawn Porter said yes, Kenny Porter wanted that fight. I guarantee to you, is not shit Al Heyman and them could do to stop that fight. And plus, they would throw Shawn Porter to the slaughter. This would be perfect for Al Heyman and them. So this is not something that they would want to try to even get away from. Shawn Porter don't have no belt. He's collateral damage. They'll send him over there quick fast. Same way they sent Andy Ruiz over to Joshua. No sweat. See, if they don't have any hardware, the PBC don't give a fuck about them going to the other side. That's not even an issue. But for them not wanting them to go to the other side, or the fact that Shawn Porter and Kenny Porter got more control over their own doings than most of these motherfuckers. I'm not going to say they got total control, but I know they got more control over what they're going to do. But it's nothing for them to protect Shawn Porter over. He has no hardware. They only protect the guys with the hardware. The Deontay Wilders, the Errol Spence, the Charlos, the Tank Davises. You see, that's the guys they protect. You don't have no hardware, man. You're a lamb. You're a fucking lamb if you don't have a belt at the PBC. So there's no other side bullshit even exists when you don't have a belt. He said, Smoke said, Bud bum bashing for bucks. Basically, yup, Smoke. All of that dumb shit that they try to accuse PBC fighters for, this is what's going on with Bud Crawford right now. And come up here and debate it if you don't think so. Because at this point, this is what's going on with Bud Crawford right now. Talk about he not taking less money, just like IBT just explained to us. Shit, why should he fight Porter if he's getting $4 or $5 million to fight Javier Lasquez? He's on the same damn track that you guys complained about PBC fighters, but I don't hear none of you guys giving them heat for that. Just like Smoke said, bum bashing for bucks. Well, I'll say low-level fighter bashing for bucks. I don't like calling guys bums.
Yeah. I wouldn't even call Brook a bum. Really, I think he can do solid work at 154. Maybe I don't know if he becomes world champion, but I think he could be solid there. He has taken some damage because of his fight with Triple G and the follow-up one with Spence. But truly, I don't think he's a bum. I think he's got good skills. He did look good in his last fight, but his last fight was at 154, which is a weight class he feels comfortable at. People need to remember, Kell Brook's just as big of a guy as Errol Spence, really. Like in all reality. Yeah, he's probably bigger. So trying to make him go down to 147, even though he's expressed difficulty in making the weight class, hasn't made the weight class in a long time. Last time he made the weight class, he got his face broken. It's like, come on.
Exactly.
I'm not even saying that exact. Like, he got his face broken in 2 fights in a row, and then like 3 years later, he's supposed to be a good win for Crawford. That would be completely hypocritical of me, considering I said that I don't give Spence much credit for beating him just because the state, the physical state that Kell Brook was in entering that fight.
Right. Raider from LA in the building, ringside boxing in the building. What's good? Let me slide down. Iceman said he's paid well, doesn't care. The problem, but he doesn't have ambition anymore. Yep. I can go along with that. D-Day are treating Bud very similarly to Winky back in the day. No one heard of Winky until Shane Mosley fight. And well, they treating Bud to be more current. Bud getting some of the Spence treatment. Because that's the treatment Spence was getting before Bud ever moved up to 147. So Bud just need to go take it. We don't even have to go that far back in the history, Joshua Lil John. Before Bud moved up to 147, this is the treatment that Spence was given. So if y'all motherfuckers was giving Spence that treatment, start giving it to Bud. That's called keeping the same energy. Punch Drunk boxing in the building. What's good with you, Punch Drunk? Appreciate you coming through. Let me slide down. Unrivaled Boxing Talking News said, Joshua, the question you asked yesterday on the stream about the rules I made, big long video for you. Okay, boom. Got the video for you, Joshua. Video for you. Let me slide down. H Money, Mr. DAZN. Oh my gosh, dog. I'm not even gonna get on that right now. I'm not gonna get on that. Oh man, Willie Williams in the building. Appreciate that. Willie Williams with the super chat. He said, I listened to IBFP talking bad about Spence fighting Danny. Who has Crawford fought on the level of Danny, Porter, or Garcia? Yet he's pound for pound. Spence had to build his resume to get one up on the money side. Yup. Fact. Now look, shout out to IBFP because he giving Bud Crawford that flame right now. That's the man that's going to keep the same energy. Yeah, he was giving Spence that heat, but he's not the kind of guy that I'm talking about, because the people that I'm talking about was giving Spence that heat, but now they don't want to give Crawford that same heat. Nuke been flaming Crawford. Nuke been absolutely going in on Crawford. So yeah, but he was giving Spence that heat, and that's just what I was just saying. Willie Williams, Spence won't get in the benefit of the doubt, bro. He won't get in the benefit of the doubt back then. So how are we going to turn and start giving Crawford the benefit of the doubt? Because the situations are almost just the same. The only thing about Spence and why I said you are up too, because you're involved in it. But the situations are just very, very similar. Crawford went and got his belt like he was told to by the main guy to go get his belt. What happened with you, Spence? You went and got your belt like you was told to by the main guy to go get a belt. Keith Thurman told you when he was holding 2 belts to go get a belt and he'll fight you. You told Crawford to go get a belt and you'll fight him. Now you holding 2 belts, but you won't fight him. Like Keith Thurman was holding 2 belts, but he wouldn't fight you. And all we got to keep listening to, well, when could Keith Thurman fight him? He had an injury. Blah, 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 blah. Man, nobody's trying to hear that, bro. When you talking about, when you got your promoter talking about a Kell Brook fight, I'm not trying to hear that garbage. None of that. That's absolute foolery. It's just pure foolishness, man.
Yo, D, I'll be right back, but I'm working on that list. I'm trying to find out. I'm reading the article that Iceman was talking about, where Eddie Hearn talks about the fights he has set up. There's a couple interesting ones already, and I'm not through the list. And there
Okay.
was one he announced earlier, so let me type them all up, and then I'll be back.
No doubt. And while you doing that, let me talk about this damn Eddie Hearn for a second. Just for a second, because I'm gonna get back on Crawford and Spence. But uh Eddie Hearn and his recent comments was just a little bit disappointing to me, man. I'm gonna ask you guys in the chat. Who in the chat is ready for Joshua versus Fury? If you're ready for that fight, just give me a thumbs up. If you're not ready for that fight, give me a thumbs down. Just that simple. That's the question. Everybody in the chat, who is ready for Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua? Who's ready for that fight? I'm gonna put my answer in the chat as well. And mine is already in there. And so, all right, and now I'm gonna start. How the hell can Eddie Hearn sit up here and say the fans are not ready for that fight? Has he bumped his head? Like he better, I don't know what this schedule looks like, but he needs to put on some very impressive shit coming out talking like that. He needs to put on some very, very impressive shit. Because listen here, Eddie Hearn, don't you tell me I'm not ready for that fight. Glenn Avery ready for it. Guido ready for it. Come on, guys, y'all tell me. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I want to see some votes on this. Who ready for that fight? If you're not ready for the fight, put the thumbs down. I believe 819 Warrior is ready for the fight because he says Hearn is a snake. I believe they all are at some extent. 819 Warrior. He said, I want Wilder 3 for now, I definitely can't agree with you on that one. And this coming from a Fury fan, 819 Warrior. I don't even want that fight. That fight is just as worthless as they come, bro. That's just no. It's just like Kell Brook against Crawford. It's just the ass whooping coming to Deontay Wilder. That's all that is. Joshua Little John put a link in the chat. Oh, that's not a link. I said Fury. You got this, Fury. Oh, okay. I thought you put a link. Fury versus AJ. You got this. Yo, man. Eddie Hearn is full of shit. A snake. That's what Guido says. France on 2. Thumbs up. Dragon leg. Thumbs up. Like, who don't want this fight, bro? Everybody. H Money is ready for Joshua. Oh, sorry, H Money. Oh man, I should have read that first. He bugged out. He bugged out, Fred. But no. Eddie Hearn needs to stop that, man. And again, I hope he do put out uh a good list because look, man, I like Eddie Hearn. Like, I'm gonna have to give him heat, like I give everybody else heat. It's just that's just what I do. But I honestly like Eddie Hearn. I think he's doing the best job that he can do in boxing right now. Let's say that. But at the same time, man, you can't be playing Bob Arum and Al Heyman in this 4-belt undisputed situation. Like if you start talking as if you're getting in the middle of these fights, Eddie Hearn, bro, you're getting the flame. You're getting the flame just like everybody else. Willie Williams back again with the next super chat. I appreciate you, Willie Williams. He said, it's a fight over money, though. Who's the A side and who's the high 60-40? I'm ready. Yeah. Of course, you know that's what the haggle is right now. Definitely would agree with that. But And you know what else too, Willie? Not only a fight over the purse, as far as the fighter's purse, but there's also a fight over the promoters versus how much the fighters are going to get. See, that's why they so look. These promoters are adamant about having fans, adamant about it because the more money these fighters make, the more money they make. You know, they keep trying to tell the public that none of these fights can happen without the fan. We can't make none of these fights happen without the fans. Y'all want to know what the truth is? The truth is they can't make the promoters can't make a whole great deal of money off of these fights without the fans. The promoters can't make and the networks can't make what they would like to make off of these fights without the fans. But these fights could be made. It's like the whole Teofimo Lopez situation. And even shout out to my man Julius. Shout out to my man Julius. But I was trying to tell him too, ring IQ. Because he was defending the situation when I was coming down on Bob and Todd Rank and all of them. He was defending the situation like, Bob's not going to take a risk. This money is not going to be made. Blah, 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 blah. Why the fuck they pay that kid more money and now the fight is happening? So I won't try to hear nothing about all that bullshit about Bob taking a risk, ESP taking a risk, if the business is not right. Man, fuck all of that shit. The business is right. The business isn't right enough for them to make the amount of money they want to make. It's not about taking no loss and putting too much money into a fight that you don't know that you're going to get back and all of this nonsense. And I'm not saying that Ring IQ is saying nonsense, but this was the type of nonsense that they were spewing, and he was furnishing this information because it was coming from them. This is what they were saying. Oh, well, if the fight don't make sense, you know, we don't want to put on a fight where we could lose money and blah, 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 blah. And Ring IQ was justifying the bullshit because of what they were saying. So he was only going from the information provided. But what I was telling Ring IQ and what I was telling everybody else is that was complete, total bullshit. Because they ended up coming up off the money. And the reason they came up off the money, because it was never a risk in the first place. The motherfuckers wanted to line their pockets more. Right? And so when Teofimo Lopez felt like, hell no, y'all can give me a little bit more money. Y'all full of shit. And everybody want to start coming down. Why shouldn't that kid speak up, bro? He knows what's going down. Why shouldn't he speak up? Somebody please tell me that. He had every right to speak up over his person. Now he's getting more money. And people want to say he don't really want to fight Loma. Is he fighting Loma now? You idiots. You idiots. Because a whole lot of you came up here and said he don't really want to fight with Loma. That's why he's doing this. So all of you guys that said that to me, go smack yourself. Because that's what you came up here and said. Oh, you just don't want to accept the fact your boy don't really want that work with Loma. That's why he making, go smack yourself. That's what you do. Like Nuke said, go smack yourself. My man Mark said, DJF agreed for 5 p.m. today. Yesterday, right? Oh, yeah, Hefe, yup. 5 p.m. today, yup. Did you talk to him yet, Mark? You talked to him today? See if he show up for that test, for that quiz, the all brilliant El Jefe. El Jefe is going to get 22 points today on Mark's quiz. Joshua said, damn, that's bad business for sure. For sure it is, Joshua, but it's a lot of business that's hidden behind the scenes from us, bro. You know what I mean? It's a lot of business that's hidden behind the scenes from us. And then we get all of these narratives and these false reports. And that's the thing. Like we can only go on the information that's provided to us. I wish I could be a fly on the wall in one of those negotiations. I wish I could hear the real situation, what's really going on. But we can only talk and speak on and go off the information that's provided to us. And what people have to understand is that all of these motherfuckers are deceptive. It's not just Eddie Hearn, not just Bob Arum, Al Heyman, Oscar, Lou DiBella. They're all deceptive. Every single one of them. So you got to understand that the information we getting, no matter what promoter it is, whether he's your favorite or not, there's a certain amount of that information that's deceptive. You're not getting the truth. You're not getting the truth from no promoter. You're not getting the whole truth. That's why I tell people, stop going ho for these promoters. You think your promoter ain't no more, just not just as dirty as the next man? Eddie Hearn's been exposed for a few. Here we go. Been exposed for a few things here recently, has Eddie Hearn. And it ain't just him. We drop this link back in the chat in case somebody want to come up. These fighters get paid well these days. Yeah. Most athletes do. I mean, even the athletes we feel like don't get paid well, right? Okay, so the average working person thinks $150,000 a year is a decent job. That's a decent job. I would say you could live pretty comfortably in this country off 150,000 a year. But when you see a fighter go into the ring and he has a 3-month camp, and even after all the expenses are paid out, he throws like $300K in his bank account. Hell yeah, they ain't making good money. Somebody will have to work 3 years of what's considered a good job. They will have to work 3 years for that to be considered. You know what I'm saying? So it's got to be good money. 3 months, you get somebody's 3-year pay that's considered upper middle class in America. You get 3 years pay in 3 months. Oh yeah, that's good money. Even though it's at the low of the totem pole for athletes, it's still very good money. So these goddamn fighters get paid well. They do get paid well. LFA is okay. Yeah, I can't do it. Wow. Yeah. Well, it may be some embarrassment there, Mark. I will say that. Because you got to think about it. They was boys. He knew what just came out. He seen all that floating around. And I don't even know. You know what's crazy, Mark? I'm pretty sure, like, I gotta be honest. I don't think El Jefe, I don't think El Jefe's down with that kind of shit there, fam. So now this that came out about H Money, and everybody know El Jefe is associated with H Money. But I can tell you right now, I don't think El Jefe down with that kind of bullshit. And so we know he was associated with him. So El Jefe laying low for a little bit. Cause that was his boy that just got caught up in all of that. You know what I mean? They probably just got exposed to something that we got exposed to. He didn't know it was like that. He didn't know H Money was like that. That's why I think Hefe done disappeared for a little bit, Mark. Try to tell you, dog. Joshua said, D. Jefferson, who is your favorite current trainer? Robert Garcia. I say Jonathan Bates, and I like the work Manny Robles does. I have to put Charles Martin. So I like Robert Garcia. I like Robert Garcia. I mean, if I had to pick, I don't really have a favorite trainer, but the one I probably like the most is Robert Garcia. And I don't know a lot of trainers well, so there may be some better trainers out there, Joshua Littlejohn, don't get me wrong. So I got to kind of go with what I know. And the trainer that I know best and his work and some of his champions and what he's done, especially since this restriction, that last fight when the Oscar Valdez fight, the Rolly Romero fight, when you hear Robert Garcia's instructions, because like you don't have the crowd there, so you can hear Robert Garcia's instructions, right? Yeah, I like Robert Garcia, man. I think Robert Garcia is an excellent trainer. Frank said, G-Jeff, hey brother, El Jefe is, oh my gosh, guilty by association. Yeah. I ain't gonna throw that on him. I ain't gonna throw that on him. I don't believe in the guilty by association either, because my first cousin, my second cousin, and my younger brother gay. Am I? Hell no. And I'm damn sure associated with him. You feel me? So yeah, nah. I mean, people come out of the closet, bro. That's what the whole phrase is, coming out of the closet. People coming out of the closet, that means other people around them don't know, right? So I can't put that on him, bro. I don't think so. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt and saying that he's not. I'm not putting that on LFA. And I think that's why Mark was like, he's disappeared. I think that's why he's disappeared. He laying low right now. Cause that's plain embarrassment, bro. That's plain embarrassment.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, yeah. What you got?
All right. All right. So the order is kind of messy, but November 12th, they want to have Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev. So what are your
Okay.
thoughts on that? We already, or sorry, December 12th. I don't know why I said November. December 12th.
I'm fine
Uh,
with it.
yeah, I think that's decent. That's fair.
Yeah,
But
I
I
got
don't,
no problem with that. None at all.
I don't have any strong opinions on it. I just think AJ's he's gonna blitz him. I think he's gonna knock him out, like maybe worse than Klitschko did.
This fight I compare with chances of winning. I give Kubrat Pulev the same chance to beat AJ as I give Leo Santa Cruz to beat Tank Davis.
Yeah, I agree. Then September 27th, they want to have Buatsi fight. No opponent announced. But Buatsi, he's solid, undefeated as well. Pretty sure, anyways.
I like to see
Um,
him fight actually, so I'm not upset
y-
with that either.
yeah, he's lightweight contender. Light heavyweight contender. He's
You
solid. I
talking
like
about the
him.
kid Joshua
Yeah,
Buatsi, right?
Joshua Buatsi, undefeated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then in fall, they want to have Alexander Usyk versus Derek Chisora. They're thinking maybe October 31st. I like that.
Good. I like that. I
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
And then no, this one's shocking. I don't know if I believe this one. This makes me doubt this entire list except a few. November 14th or November 21st, they want to have Dillian White versus Povetkin 2. That seems way too early to me.
Yeah, but that, and you know what the thing with that IBT is, I believe that's all on Povetkin and his camp. Because honestly, he could tell Dillian White and them, go fuck yourself. Because it's Dillian White and his camp that want to get right back at it. They want to get right back to it, right? But this is a two-edged sword, in my opinion. Because Povetkin is that much more experienced. They trying to rush in because they think it may be some simple adjustments. And I don't think that. You know, if he caught you with this, he could catch you with something else. He just outthought you in that fight. Yeah, you caught him, but he got back up, but he still outthought you. He played a better chess game than you did. So now you're not giving yourself enough time to strategize. You know what I mean? As the
Yeah.
younger, less experienced fighter, they want to jump right back in there. But how much you going to learn? If you, especially if you're thinking it was only simple minor adjustments, because I was beating him. But if you're beating a guy and he's planning something and it works, that should make you even a little more afraid, in my opinion. Because you had him on the reps, you had it, and he still figured you out. Like, that should give you more to think about. What do you think?
Yeah. If you were dominating him and he still found a way to knock you out, well, I
Exactly.
mean, now he's got more data on you as well. I mean, Povetkin is someone very experienced. We're talking about Dillian White's seasoned in his own right, but Povetkin is experienced. He's got deep amateur pedigree. He's got a deep professional pedigree. He's very good fighter. So I'm still worried about Dillian White, especially off coming a knockout. I don't even know if this fight can be sanctioned that early. He was knocked out. It wasn't like he was stopped or he had an injury that can heal quickly, like he rolled his ankle. He got knocked out.
Out, slam out. It's going to be a certain amount of time before he can even spar again.
Yeah, well, apparently
Because you
they're
know
already
he had a
training.
concussion,
Apparently they're already training in
which is
Portugal,
even worse, bro. Which is even worse because the
which to
way he was
me,
knocked out, he had a concussion. Whether it was a slight concussion or a major concussion, he definitely had one the way he was knocked out. And if you're already back getting beat around in the head again, this is even worse for him. You're not giving that brain fluid, that inflammation time. You're not giving none of that time.
yeah, I don't know, man. That doesn't sound like a good idea to me.
Nope. Joshua Littlejohn said, "D, I try to keep up with the trainers always back in the day. Do you think Rob McCracken will be mentioned with the great trainers of the sport like Emmanuel Stewart?" Well, what do you threw Emmanuel Stewart in there, Lil
No,
John?
no.
In my opinion, you just threw the goat in there. It's just like you just asked me, will will let's see, how can I put this? You basically just asked me by Emmanuel Stewart. You just asked me, will Jimmy Butler be mentioned with Michael Jordan? Like, you know what I'm saying? Jimmy Butler may go in the Hall of Fame, but he ain't gonna be mentioned with no damn Michael Jordan. That's Emmanuel Stewart, in my opinion, when it comes to the greats. He's the greatest of the greats. So I think Rob McCracken will go down. I don't know what the criteria is for Trainers Hall of Fame, but I think he may have a chance to get there. But to ever be mentioned with the greats like Emmanuel Stewart, nah, I don't think so. What you think, Abby?
Yeah, I feel like that's a bit of a stretch. I think he's a solid trainer. I just don't think he has nearly the depth or like the, for me, Emmanuel Stewart, just looking at all the fighters he trained, there's a sharp increase in their talent and success after he trains them, and it's across multiple weight classes, and it's over a long stretch of time, and it's like greats, all-time greats, you know. I just think that's a little you you compared him too tough. You put him next to someone too tough that I'm gonna say
Right,
no for now, but
right, right.
yeah. So do you want me to continue with the bit of a list? There's
Yeah,
just two
yeah, yeah.
more. There's
Yeah,
two
let's
more
do
that I
that.
want to cover, and I kind of went in order of excited, how excited I am, except the Joshua one. I'd probably say I'm more excited for Joshua than Buatsi's fight versus to be announced, right? So then in mid-October, they're gonna have a triple headliner, I guess. It's gonna be 3 world championship fights: Juan Francisco Estrada versus Carlos Cuadras 2. That will be for the WBC Super Flyweight title and the Ring Magazine title at that weight class. On the undercard, co-main event will be Roman Gonzalez defending his WBA title at Super Flyweight, and then under those two will be Julio Cesar Martinez versus to be decided opponent, as well defending his WBC Flyweight title. I think that'll be a good card. I like all 4 of those guys, as long as the opponents aren't just complete. Um, as long as they're not just clear tune-up opponents, I think I like that card.
No doubt, no doubt. Dragon Leg, appreciate you, my man. Dragon Leg with the super chat. He said, "Whoever hating on Teofimo, smack yourself and your mama for making you." Damn right. Stop hating on my boy Teofimo Lopez. What's up, Mark?
Yo, what's happening? What's happening? I heard something about
Same
Emmanuel
old, same
Stewart
old.
when I jumped in and then nothing else.
Oh yeah, the Emmanuel Stewart. Is that what got your juices flowing? What do you think
No, I just
about?
heard it as I jumped on.
Okay, well, what do you think about Rob McCracken? Do you think he'll ever be compared with the lights of the great Emmanuel Stewart?
Wait, what?
No, he's
Yeah.
just saying. I think he corrected himself in the chat, but he's saying my fault. D, I used Manny as the bar. But do you think Rob McCracken will go down as a great trainer, or do you think he's just a trainer that's like all right, or he's got a couple fighters, or like what? Where do we think Rob
He's a great British
McCracken?
trainer. He's a great British trainer. He's changed a lot of the Olympians, a lot of Olympic gold medalists, which helps him. Amateur stuff helps you with the hall as a trainer. And then he's trained Carl Froch and Anthony Joshua, so he's done very well for himself, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think comparing him to Emmanuel Stewart, that's kind of a tough order, you know.
There's very few people who even go into the hat when you mention Emmanuel Stewart.
Yeah.
What do y'all think? Mark, I'll start with you. What do you think about this kid, Jared Anderson? And just to let y'all know, I already put my picks in for the league, so this ain't about the league. But what do y'all think about that kid, Jared Anderson, man?
I think he's a very aggressive kid. He hasn't really used his boxing. He just throws a lot of punches. I need to see him box a bit more. He looks exciting, though.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. It looks exciting, but boxing acumen, haven't seen it yet. Haven't seen the boxing acumen. Haven't seen him really make use of his jab much. He's pretty much just gone in and steamrolling people, isn't he? Just throwing hundreds of shots per round and just straight beating them down. That's all he's doing.
Right. And he's got good dimensions, man. He's really long. Like, he's got long arms.
He
He's a
hasn't
tall
even
guy.
properly filled into his frame yet. He's still very young. How old is Jared Anderson?
I
19,
think
20?
2021.
I know he's
Yeah,
really young.
he's very young. He's going to fill out. I'd like him to try and keep a good amount of that speed and just work on his jab and his feet a bit, and he'll be a dangerous guy. But like for right now, he's just a prospect, man. That's all it is. I can't put my finger on it, but I think there's something I can see that's vulnerable. Maybe it's just the fact that he's just flurrying a lot and he could be timed easily. But yeah.
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 I think he'll be all right. But who's training him? Do you guys know who's training him?
I don't, unfortunately.
Do you have any idea who's training him, Mark?
No, actually, I don't. I haven't really paid much attention to it.
Yeah, I haven't paid much attention to him either. I
haven't really seen much of a chance to have a look at the corner, have I?
Yeah, I mean, only one fight went past 1 round.
He got a 3-rounder. Oh, he got 2. He got a 2-rounder, a 3-rounder, and the rest was knockouts in the first round.
Yeah, but a lot of those rounds they put commercials up during them in the first couple of rounds.
So. They was coming back. Okay, so undercard fight. We had a knockout just coming off a commercial, but our next fight is. I mean, you'll get to see the shit. Oh boy, Scott Brown. What's up, Scott Brown? He said Butler and Jordan both played shooting guard for the Bulls. Yeah, true that. Manuel Stewart. So, yeah, man. So anyway, man, I just wanted to kick it a little bit about Terence Crawford, Shawn Porter situation and clear it up. He ain't no damn mandatory. So y'all stop that. He has been ranked number 1, but he's not a mandatory yet. But even still, I think enough. Him being ranked at number 1 is enough for Crawford and Arum to drop this Brook foolery. They ain't signed anything yet, man. There's nothing signed, nothing agreed on. So just forget about that. Start negotiating Porter, Crawford. You're mandatory. Get your mandatory out the way. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Prove your validation at 147 and get your mandatory out the way. Upside for Crawford. No reason he shouldn't take this fight. Much more valid than Kell Brook at every single level. Because even though Kell Brook and Shawn Porter fought each other, Shawn Porter beat the hell out of Kell Brook right now. They're 2 different fighters. In my opinion, Shawn Porter has progressed while Kell Brook has regressed since they fought. So, I mean, Shawn Porter was just recently WBC champion. No, man, he's got to make that fight, you know. That's all I say. Manuel Stewart was so dedicated and had Andy Lee living with him for a few years because he believed in him. Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Emmanuel Stewart is probably the last of a dying breed.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah. Everybody gets shook when they're Hefe.
Is that Hefe there? Is that Hefe?
No, that's ringside boxing. He said, D, can you give a top 5 list for centers? Oh,
basketball.
You got Shaq, David Robinson, Alonzo Mourning, Dikembe Mutombo, Yao Ming. That's a decent list. I hate these top 5 lists like this when there's so many players, but right offhand, I'm gonna say Kareem, Hakeem, Shaq, Bill, Russell, and let me see, Kareem, Hakeem, Shaq, Bill Russell, and Wilt Chamberlain. Those would be my 5 right off the top. Yeah, Kareem, Bill Russell, Shaq, Hakeem Olajuwon, Wilt Chamberlain. Yeah.
I'll give 5. I got Bill, Kareem, Wilt, Shaquille, and Elvin Hayes.
Elvin Hayes, wow. Elvin Hayes was a finesse guy. He could shoot the rock. Yeah, that's a good pick, Mark, actually. A lot of people don't know about Elvin Hayes.
Yeah, I kind of, when I start trying to get into a sport, I start looking into history, don't I? So
Right. Yeah, a lot of people don't know about Alvin Hayes. Yeah, but David Robinson now, the Admiral, uh, it's a good argument for him. Always. The thing with Alonzo Mourning, Joshua Littlejohn, is you got to carry some hardware with you. You know what I mean? Like everybody in the top 10 got some hardware. Charles Barkley probably could have been considered one of the top 10 if he'd have gotten some hardware, but he didn't get that hardware. And I mean, we always talk about this is what I always say about LeBron James. Like with LeBron James, you can say all you want about how many stats and he beat Jordan in this category and he beat Jordan in that category. But what it's going to come down to at the end of LeBron James' career, especially if he goes to the finals this year, win or lose, this means you would have had 20 years playing, 10 trips to the NBA finals, and you could only cash in 4 times, which is 40% of the time. So all of these stats you put up, all of these years you played, you still couldn't accomplish as much as this dude within only 14 years because he went 6 times and he was 100% perfect. So you see what I mean? That's what it will come down to. So when you look at these guys and the stats and the things they accomplish, that's cool. But hardware has to accompany that also. I'm not saying that it's all about the hardware, but the hardware definitely has to accompany that. You have to have one because being the best is not about trying the hardest. It's about fucking winning. You know what I'm saying? Anthony
I've got
Johnson
a
is not considered the best because he's trying the hardest. It's because he's fucking champion.
I've got a question for you, and this is coming out of a place of complete ignorance. I don't watch any other sport but boxing. Basically, not at a non-casual level, like super duper casual, but is making it and getting second place that many more times than some. So you're saying they got 6 first place versus 4 first place and 16 second places. Do the 16 second places not edge you over the 2 first places that they
No,
have over each other?
no,
All right.
no, sir. Not in basketball, it wouldn't. I guarantee you. No. And I don't, I mean, you give me a sport like, okay, maybe like football, right? Because Mark was just breaking something down to me the other day about Pele and Messi. Okay. So maybe in like that sport, because like you got World Cups accomplishments and then you got other accomplishment, what you say on the club level, Mark. And so
Yeah.
maybe in a sport like that, you could try to kind of get some rationalization out of that IBT, and I wouldn't deny that. But in basketball, no, sir, you got to get one of them golden trophies, at least one of them golden trophies, fam. You got to get at least one of them, or you're just going to be like another Charles Barkley, which he's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest power forwards ever. Nobody denies that. But Jordan, Magic, all of those guys rag him about one thing: he didn't get that ring. You know what I mean? Charles Barkley not sitting in the top 10. I don't know. I've checked lists here lately, but not even the top 20 because he didn't get that fucking ring. Had he gotten that ring, he'd be up there. Karl Malone, John Stockton. Had they gotten some hardware, I guarantee you they would be higher up on the list. But they don't have any hardware.
I can't imagine comparing basketball careers. That's insane, dude. I spend a lot of time just trying to compare boxer careers, and that's one person. I can't imagine trying to account for the intangibles of like an entire other group or team of people. That'd be insane.
Yeah, bro. That's why I had to cut back a little bit because when I first started IBT, I was doing boxing, basketball, MMA, and football. And then I got to the point like, holy shit, bro, this is too much to keep up with. I mean, I knew a lot about all of it, but just to try to actually do analytics and report all of that shit, nah, I couldn't. I had to cut back. But you're right, it is. But again, dog, I'm like a sports uh freaking head. Like I love sports since I was 10. I was all into all kind of sports. I know a ton of shit about basketball, uh, boxing, and football. I know a ton of shit, like a lot of old players. Mark does too, man. Don't let him fool you. Y'all think Mark only know basketball. Fuck that, bro. No, I mean boxing. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, Mark. I know Mark personally for his
My bad, my bad. I said boxing.
intensely deep
No,
basketball
no,
knowledge.
no, not just boxing. Boxing, even basketball. I bet you, man. A lot of people that I talk basketball with, you would be surprised. Mark know more history about basketball than those motherfuckers. And I know he does because he talked to me about some things. We talked about behind the scenes, and then football, like soccer football. Yeah, okay. Y'all try to talk to him about football. Like he knows more sports too. He knows a lot of sports.
Just don't talk to me about tennis.
Tennis, right? Tennis. There's another one. That's right. We talked about that. Yeah. I knew a lot about tennis. Motherfucker, I know 10,000 more about tennis than I do. Oh
But
yeah.
yo, D, a lot of people don't even realize I didn't find you because of boxing. I found you because of the basketball World Cup.
Yeah. FIFA, the FIFA game. And then Mark Mitchell. I know remember the Federer Nadal
No, it was Serena Williams. It was Serena Williams.
and Drina Andrescu. That one. Yeah. Williams and Andrescu. Yeah, and then I did Federer and Nadal. Like that's something else I used to do, IBT. Live tennis commentary. I love tennis.
Dude, I legit just don't believe you. That sounds so
it's on my
no, legit, dude. No, on my soul, man. This man was like,
how do you do live commentary?
Sweet backhand. Yo, she's out the plane and right down the line. Oh, she's overextended.
IBT, I love tennis. If you don't know how to do tennis commentary, go listen to it. I do actually pretty decent tennis commentary, fam. I think I do. I was doing the matches pretty well.
Hold on. Where's Get the Smoke saying I love pro wrestling? I don't like pro wrestling.
I don't know. Maybe he's telling a joke. I like pro wrestling.
I used to like pro wrestling. I used to. Back in the day when I was a kid. Most of my wrestling knowledge comes from back when I was a kid. I grew up with Stone Cold, Triple H.
Yeah, right.
There Monday Night Wars.
That was when I left it all alone. After The Rock. After The Rock left, I left. Yeah, I was done. I wasn't really on the John Cena and that era. After that era, I was pretty much out of wrestling. Roman Reigns and those guys, I don't really know much about them. I did like Randy Orton because I like that RKO move. I used to watch a couple of matches just to see him do that. I used to like that move. That was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool move. But outside of that, yeah, I stopped watching that wrestling shit, man. It's all about boxing now. And I just had to cut a lot of things back because I was cheating myself. I felt like I was cheating myself and everybody else for boxing and shit. You know what I mean?
You know the U.S. Open is on right now. By the way, D, right?
No, I don't. Shit.
Tennis U.S. Open started.
No, I don't even get in until they get through some of the fire, fam. We got too much, man. You already know. After I get off this live, I think I'm not even gonna do the prediction show this day. I got a game tonight to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It never stops. Never stops. Nick Harmer, what's up? Carlos Mendoza, Dead Game Boxing. What's up with you, fam?
Salute, fam. Salute, fam. What we talking about, man? I just wanted to chop it up for a minute while you're still on. What's good?
Oh, I was talking about the live. Basically, we was talking about Shawn Porter becoming ranked number one for the WBO. And the thing was, a lot of people I seen a lot of videos already coming out, and they're saying that he's mandatory. So I wanted to clear some of that up and let people know just because they ranked him number one, people can't start thrusting him in there saying that he's Terence Crawford's mandatory. You know what I mean? Dillian White said it number one for the 1,000 days and it wasn't mandatory. That's what his complaint was. But at the same token, if he's ranked number one, then Terence Crawford should abandon that goddamn Brook fight and fight his number one contender, which is Shawn Porter.
Facts, man. Look, man, I'm a Bud Crawford fan. You know what I'm saying? I like Bud. But
I like him too.
But this is the thing though. And I like Shawn Porter, not as much as I like Bud, but this is the thing. You have Shawn Porter smiling in Terence Crawford's face. They talking about how they friends. But Shawn Porter's daddy is talking about let's make the fight. Now, Shawn Porter is positioning himself to get that fight. So I don't know. I don't want Bud to get caught off guard with the okie doke, because that's what looked like the Porters are doing. They working the okie doke because I mean he was ranked number one because he wanted to be ranked number one, and that's the WBO, right? WBO.
Yeah.
I mean there's other sanctioning bodies he could go after, you know, but I mean he's ranked number one. He's not the mandatory, but shit, he's right there. He's saying that he wants to be the man. So I mean
and look, here's the thing. He know, like here's the thing. It's pretty much written in stone. So Shawn Porter, what's up, Intangible? Shit, man, I missed a lot of your comments, Intangible. I'm gonna drop the link. You can come up here and kick it if you want. But here's the thing. Everybody knows that with Errol Spence, Shawn Porter, he lost to Spence, but he's still ranked in the WBC. No need for him to try to get ranked in the IBF because the same guy holds it. So if he wanted to take a path to get back to Spence, he could just do work in the WBC where he's already ranked at. So it would be no need to go after the IBF or WBC rankings because he's ranked there already, right? When it comes to the WBA, man, in Pacquiao, he's not getting that fight because it would be either Mikey or Crawford to get that fight first and then Spence. But so he would be left. So what is left? WBO. That's his direct route to another title. Because at the end of the day, is what we were just talking about Jordan and all of these. You gotta fucking win that chip. It ain't nothing in sports unless you win that ultimate prize. It's about the ultimate prize, fam. And Shawn Porter's easiest, cleanest route to another full-fledged title is being ranked number one by the WBO. What's up, Intangible?
Yeah, let me just say this real quickly because I'm going to jump off actually in just a few seconds. Terence Crawford came on to some, or there was some like a Washington Post article that stated that Terence Crawford says that there needs to be money in the pot in order for the PBC fights to be made. If the money is there, the fights will be made. Dude, look at your garbage ass fights. I'm just going to be honest. I haven't decided to really dig deep into Crawford's resume very much before. I've tried to excuse him for it, but nobody wants to see you fight Egidijus Kavalauskas. That fight is trash compared to what the casual fans want.
Was a mandatory.
And all the fans want. Hold on. All fans are going to give you money based on how you fulfill their demands, and ultimately, the prize is not going to be there. The money is not going to be there unless you fight the people the fans want you to fight, being a Shawn Porter. All right?
Facts.
When are these dumbass fighters going to understand that these fans are putting money in their pockets, and the money that's going to be, in order for money to be actually in these fighters' pockets, they're going to have to fulfill the demands of the fighters or of the fans that are going to give them the money.
Please us.
Duh. I'm out of here.
Yo, can
Peace
I respond
out.
to that?
Appreciate you, Intangible. I almost fucked up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, there, gang.
Look, okay. This is the thing, bro. Crawford is a champion. So what he done at 140 is what he's going to do at 147. No matter who he puts in front, no, they can put whoever in front of him. He's still Terence Crawford. So Terence Crawford doesn't make the decisions in the decision room of who he's going to fight. He fights and beats whoever they put in front of him. That's not his fault, you know. But we can also go back to Mikey Garcia. Somebody mentioned Mikey Garcia. The Mikey Garcia Errol Spence fight was probably one of the worst things for the 147 division because it was all about the money. And they admitted it. Mikey Garcia is even talking about retiring. Mikey Garcia ran off with the bag with the Errol Spence fight and the DAZN fight. So Mikey Garcia is looking good right now. He's talking about retiring.
Oh,
Errol
not
Spence,
just yet. I'm gonna speak on that in a minute, but go ahead.
But Errol Spence and Terence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao, these guys is the guys that needs to mix it up. That's who needs to mix it up. Now they can have these little filler fights if they want. It's promotion. They trying to milk it and get the money, but they need to fight each other, bro. It's no. I mean, we could talk about the resumes. I could talk about the best resume is Shawn Porter and Mikey and Danny Garcia and Manny Pacquiao. That's who have the best resumes. But we talking about if we want to talk about the fighters, I mean, I believe Terence Crawford is the best, but they have to mix it up, and we have to. And it's not them. I believe it's the promoters. But with the Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence, it was those two guys wanted the bag at the stadium in Dallas. It was all about the money. It wasn't about the fans, and that's how I want to end that.
Yeah, bro. I mean, see, that's the thing. That's the thing with you, Day Game, and a lot of these other, like, you're a real fan of the sport. Like, a lot of these guys don't understand. They can be a fan of the sport. You can be a fan of the boxing, but you got to look at it from the aspect of the sport first. If you can look at it from the aspect of the sport first and put that favorite boxing shit to the side when it comes to boxing, then you won't even run into a lot of problems. But people run into a lot of problems when they put these boxes before the sport. Like, these Wilder fans put Wilder before the sport. Nah, it's not about Wilder. It's about boxing first. Now, you can like him and cheer for him all you want, but when it's time for him to step up and get into this 4-belt undisputed fight, I don't want to hear shit about no Wilder. Well, Wilder's a baby. Wilder's perks. How much money? Get your ass in there and make that 4-belt undisputed fight. Boxing first. And if you don't, and you fugazi, I'm going to give you heat. But a lot of these people can't bring it to themselves to give their fighter heat. You know what I'm saying? They get just like, I keep using my boy Teofimo. When everybody was coming up here, I said it. IBT was on the line with me. I said, look, I'm going to make this plain. If this dude don't make this fight happen, I said, I'm not saying that I'm going to give him flame for saying he want more than 1.2, but he can't let 1.2 get in the way of making this fight happen. I said, if you can't get more than that, then dude, you got to take this 1.2 or I'm going to flame your ass. That's exactly what I said, because at the end of the day, fighting Lomachenko was bigger than just the 1.2, though. And even his dad was telling him that. So I'm going to put boxing first, even though I'm as big as I am. Everybody know how big I am on Teofimo. But I'm still going to put boxing first before Teofimo, because Teofimo, you my dude and everything. But you got to make this fight happen, kid. You got to make this fight happen. And that's how I feel about any other boxer, fam. If I'm going to do that to the guys I like, you must be damn sure I'm going to do it to the guys that you like. You know what I mean? They're going to get it too. And Crawford got to step up. Ain't no more excuses, man. You got to step up. We don't want no more Velasquez's. We don't want no more scary cons coming in there. Somebody with no confidence that they can beat you. Crawford confidence is off the charts, fam. His confidence level's off the chart. I don't want to see him get in there with an unconfident fighter. That's bullshit. Khan never had confidence in himself. I don't give a fuck about his name or none of that. Crawford hit him in the eye and he quit. That shows you the level of confidence he had in himself. That was a bullshit fight to start with. And it was already bullshit because we knew Khan was chinny. We don't need no more of these fights from Crawford. How can you say you the boogeyman and you ain't fighting nobody scary? You call yourself the boogeyman. You running around bullying people. You fighting up everybody and you know you're going to win. Who the fuck thought Jeff Holmes was going to beat him? Be honest. Who in here thought Jeff Holmes? Did you think Jeff Holmes was going to beat Crawford that game?
Not one chance.
Not one chance. Who the fuck thought Jose Benavidez coming off a layoff and a gilt damn leg was going to beat Terence? I didn't even think Jose Benavidez would go 12 rounds with this motherfucker. No. I thought Crawford would probably put him out of there like 7 or 8. I was surprised he lasted 12 rounds, but ain't nobody thought Jose Benavidez was going to beat Terence Crawford. I don't even need to ask about Khan because everybody was talking about with Khan, what round was he going to get knocked out in? That was the whole discussion when Khan went. Nobody except maybe some UK fans or diehard Khan fans was thinking he was going to win that fight. It was all about what round is Crawford going to put Khan away in. That was the discussion on that fight. And then we come.
Well, with that fight, what I was looking for is to see if Khan. You see, when Khan fought Canelo, Khan was doing pretty decent. You know what I'm saying? He was, you know, he was doing decent. I just wanted to see if he was going to kind of do a little decent against Crawford. I mean, Crawford was just destroying this kid, bro.
Hey, day game, and I think IBT can back me up on this because I believe we researched this before. Do you know outside of Terence Crawford, every fight Khan got knocked out in, he was outboxing the guy?
I'm the only one who actually kind of like, Crawford was outboxing him, but in all fairness, the other guys were at points too, and I don't mean just at the point when they knocked him out. People want to say he beat Canelo every round.
No, I ain't say he was beating him, but I say he was outboxing him.
Yeah,
not the whole round, not the whole fight, but Khan was outboxing Canelo. But let me say this.
Sure, Breedis didn't have a chance to get outboxed.
You say what?
Breedis Prescott did not have a chance to get outboxed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Quit.
That fight didn't really prove much to me. It just proved to me that the one thing I thought Khan was good for, he's not. I thought he'd at least bring heart until he lost, and he didn't. So I was just so greatly disappointed. I actually bought that pay-per-view. I was trying to support my boy, Teofimo, Shakur, and Bud. I was trying to support, but the other two, they had solid fights. Whereas Crawford, I was kind of hoping he could have some dominant performance, and he did beat him, obviously, like just destroyed him. But Khan was he didn't show up at all, so it wasn't even entertaining. It was essentially a bum bash. Like that one to me actually felt like a bum bash.
He didn't try, bro. He had no confidence. No. He was running away. Like this is different when you're on your bicycle, when you're on the move, than when you just running. Khan was running away from Crawford in the ring, bro. Then he got clipped. Then he goes down. He gets back up. He gets hit in the thigh. He quits. That's all it was. It was like watching an after-school bully take lunch money from a kid that ain't trying to fight back. That's what that fight was, bro.
It was
like, come on, man, leave that kid alone.
It was just, it wasn't even like I don't even know if it was a bully or taking back the money. I think Terence Crawford just bullied some kid for his lunch money. Like that's maybe the best analogy I've heard. D. He just destroyed him. It wasn't even competitive.
Yeah,
sure, Khan touched him up a couple times, but it just didn't seem like Bud even cared. So why do I care? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Like it was not even competitive at all. And it's like, dog, look, I have no problem. And I haven't. And I told people, it's just the same thing like with Anthony Joshua. I have no problem with any Joshua fans or anybody saying Joshua is the #1 heavyweight. I have no problem with anybody saying Crawford is the best 147-pound welterweight. I don't have no problem with that. I think I like Spence. I like Fury. But it's relevant for people to say that he's the best welterweight. It's relevant for people to say that Joshua was the best. I mean, acceptable, not relevant. It's acceptable for people to say that they're the best. You understand? So I have no problem with people saying that. But if I'm going to accept that you're one of the best, I'm not going to accept a Brook fight. Especially when you and your boys, and not you, Dead Game, y'all ragging Danny Garcia and Errol Spence. Well, them fighting each other is better than your Brook fight, fam. An opponent, Spence as an opponent, Danny as an opponent is better than Brook as an opponent. So them fighting each other is better than your fucking Brook fight, Crawford.
Let me rebuttal that before we it get lost.
How? Okay, go ahead. How are you going to rebuttal that?
All right. Let's put a little bit more respect on Brook's name.
No, sir. But go ahead.
Put a little bit. All right. Who did Brook lose to?
Who did Brook lose to?
Yes. Name me the two fighters that Brook lost to. Name me who did Brook lose to?
I mean, the only argument is Errol Spence. So if we're gonna,
who else did he lose to? He lost to GGG, right? He lost to GGG and he lost to Spence.
I'm trying to get like what's okay. Go ahead.
So what I'm trying to go with this, man. He just annihilated the guy that we trying to hype up to fight Crawford, which is Shawn Porter. I mean, he walked through Shawn Porter like Shawn Porter hit a brick wall.
Who
and
did?
This man only lost 2 fights. The only thing we could say about Kell Brook is are we going to get the full Kell Brook if he can get his weight? The only thing we got to get is the 100% Kell Brook. If we get 100% Kell Brook, we got a good fight. And that's just the way it is, bro. Shawn, Errol Spence went tooth and nail with this man before he broke his eyeball.
Okay, well, who just got annihilated? That game. Hold on. Who annihilated Porter? Who did that? Who you said just got annihilated?
Brook.
Brook did not annihilate Porter.
Kell Brook walked through Shawn Porter, man.
Nah, that game, you bugging. Shawn Porter has not been annihilated by no opponent, fam. No one.
Look, man.
That's a fact. No. Come on. You gotta keep it real about Shawn Porter.
Opinions, though. But now we talking about opinions, and that's not gonna go nowhere.
Talk about the fight. All you gotta do is go watch the fight.
I'm talking about the fight too.
So how many times did he drop him?
Man, I hadn't saw the fight in a while, bro. He might have not dropped him none, but what I'm telling you, how much did he outscore him by? You know, a judge had it 114, 114. Another judge had it 116, 112. How did he annihilate him, fam? Okay, let me retract. Let me not.
It was a majority decision win.
I'm gonna take that back. It was a good fight with 2 good fighters. Kell Brook is a quality fighter. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay. That's all I'm trying to say. It's better than Mean Machine.
Okay, so the issue is that Kell Brook was a quality fighter at 147, but at this point he no longer represents that. In fact, it's completely unproven that he can even compete at mid-level at 147 because he's so drained, right? So, for example, Kell Brook would be a solid fighter at 154, but if you told him to make 135, that's, it's not the same. Him making 147 is not as egregious as him making 135, obviously. It's a weight class he's made before, but it's also a weight class he's expressed he has extreme difficulty making.
Right.
And especially
2 fights.
Who's talking about 135?
No, I was making in a hyperbole. I was exaggerating. I'm saying at 147, he's not comfortably making weight, which makes him more susceptible to taking damage.
Listen, man,
he's going to be drained. He's going to be sluggish. He's not going to have as much power. He's not going to have as much stamina. His chin's not going to be there.
Let me explain to you something about these professional.
Yeah, punch resistance.
Listen, I'm going to explain to you about professional athletes in today's game. These guys professionally drop weight down. Errol Spence could fight at 154 easy. These guys professionally know how to drop weight down. If he can drop weight down and make the 147 and blow up to the monster that he is, Terence Crawford is gonna have a fight. That's all I'm saying. If he doesn't if he get Angle like he got, I think he's back with Angle. These guys can do it, man, and he could be strong, and it's all about the right. These guys are professionals, man.
All right,
that's what I'm trying to explain.
Dead game, check this out. I know what you're saying about the professional. This is my thing, dog. This is my thing. In his last 2 fights, he ain't looked that great. Michael Zarafa and Mark DeLuca. He fought Errol Spence Jr. in 2017, fam. This is the last time this dude fought at 147 in 2017 is when he got beat. But here's the significance of that. That motherfucker was having problem making weight at 147 in 2017 their game. It's 2020 and he's been fighting at a higher weight class. And if you have seen Brook, like just recently, at the higher weight class, he's packed on muscle. Why would he pack on muscle at that weight class? He got to build up some punch resistance. So now you're not talking about these guys just walking around like Spence. They got a lot of water weight and fat weight they got to cut. It's a lot different story from cutting muscle that you done built for a higher weight class. And if you were fucking draining yourself 3 years ago, how easy is it going to be now that you got to not only cut down, but cut mass out of that too? Cutting mass, you know about athletes and sports, you know cutting mass is a lot tougher than cutting fat, fam. And that's what he's gonna have to cut now. Mass, bro. Like, nah, this dude's gonna get his ass whooped like Wilder did from pillar to post. That's how he gonna get beat. This is no competitive fight with Crawford, fam. This is no competitive fight at all. This is a walkover fight.
Listen, there's nobody, and I don't care what kind of condition. I'm just saying, put some respect on his name because he's a good fighter. But I don't care what kind of condition Kell Brook come in. Terence Crawford is destroying him. Like I say, Terence Crawford is the #1 fighter at 147. There's no fighter at 147 that can beat this guy. You know, and I think he's putting on some weight. I would have liked him drop back down to 140 and get his 4 belts back again and just dominate 140 and 147. But he's putting on weight. He's going to stay at 147 and just dominating the rest of his career. Listen, Undisputed has to go through Terence Crawford. And if these guys want Undisputed, they have to do it. You have Jamel Charlo is going to get that 3rd belt. Errol Spence is going to end up, I think Errol might move up to 154 without getting that Undisputed. And then Terence Crawford is going to be, listen, Terence Crawford will be the Undisputed champion. It's just what it is.
Man, do y'all Crawford fans know that that's been the same fucking narrative? And even Nuke, the CIBFP boxer Nuke, he already admitted this. This has been the same fucking narrative about Spence versus Crawford. Y'all the only one saying he gonna move to 154. The man keep telling y'all he gonna fight Crawford. Crawford keep telling y'all, his own fans, he gonna fight Spence. And y'all keep saying he gonna move to 154 before he fights Crawford. Well, the two fighters are not even saying that, fam. Like Spence ain't saying that, nor Crawford is saying that. And there's never been any indication from Spence's camp that they were going to move before that. This all came from a narrative. And the two fighters are not saying that, but people this day still saying Spence going to move to 154 before he fight Crawford. So where the fuck is that coming from? Who says this?
Where that's coming from is the people that's saying that Crawford is trying to duck somebody. Crawford is the one that reaches out to these fighters. Crawford reached out to Errol. Errol said, not yet. It's going to happen. Errol said it's going to happen, but not yet. Yes. Crawford called, man, they had phone conversations about this, man.
Yeah, but
Errol is the one that's really postponing it, not putting it out, not throwing it away.
All right, bro. Hold on. But the whole Terence Crawford ducking Spence, like, I don't even really want to hear about that foolishness because that's not how we talk over here. I got a video saying Spence dunked Crawford, and I'm a Spence fan, so I don't even want to hear those dumb narratives. What I do over here is debunk bullshit narratives. So I don't know who said Terence Crawford was ducking Spence, but to me that's irrelevant. All of that shit's irrelevant because those are idiotic narratives. The only thing I'm talking about is this bullshit narrative, which I'm talking about, just like that Crawford narrative, Crawford ducking Spence, that's a narrative. But this is also a bullshit narrative that Spence is going to move up to 154 before he fights Crawford. Because Spence is not saying that. Crawford is not saying or agreeing to that. Crawford spoke on that. It's like, no, we're going to fight. He doesn't even think Spence is moving to 154 before he fight him. And Spence or his camp has never said that. And Spence have not once been a Tank Davis and miss weight. He ain't been a Shawn Porter and had to cut his hair because he was going to miss weight.
That just came out from me just spitting that out, bro. I didn't even hear that from where I'm just spitting that out. You know, I just feel, you know, if Jamal move up to 168, Jamel move up to 160, and Charlo move up to 154. I just, you know, that's just what I thought a while back, and it just came out. Nobody told me that. It just came. I don't even think that won't even happen. You know what I'm saying? They already said they're gonna fight, but I just spit that out there. But what I'm saying is, we just need to see the fight, man. And whoever they put in front of Crawford just have to keep beating. That's all it is. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Well, I want to fight just as much as anybody else. I want Spence to stop fucking around. And to tell you the truth, I'm hoping Errol Spence fights either Crawford or Pacquiao next, or I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna have to be putting some videos flaming Errol Spence. Cause this Danny Garcia fight, like, here's the thing with this Danny Garcia fight and my dude Spence. I'm not giving him no heat because he just cracked all his damn teeth out of his mouth hitting the fucking concrete. So he need to find out if his chin, if his punch resistance is okay. But that's the only thing he needs to find out. If that punch resistance, his body is all right. If that question is answered, Danny Garcia is really no more than a tuna. That motherfucker's not gonna beat Errol Spence. And if Spence never crashed, he would have beat Danny Garcia like a drum. So if his chin and his physical is what they say they are, or that they say it is, Danny Garcia ain't had no chance against Spence anyway. So you could take a good fight after that.
Bro, you need to also put some respect on Danny's name, bro. Really?
Nah, bro.
Put a little bit of respect on Danny's name, bro.
No. I'm not putting a goddamn piece of respect on Danny's name when he fucking sit there and struggles with an Ivan Red catch. An Ivan Red catch. He's regressing, fam. I don't understand why when people see boxers regressing, it takes them so long to accept it. I was telling Keith Thurman fans, before the goddamn bone spurs and shit, the dude is regressing. Now we get fast forward ahead to Keith once upon a time, Thurman, and they want to be surprised that Pacquiao beat him. I called the Pacquiao fight before anybody. I said Pacquiao gonna beat that dude. Exactly, because he's Keith once upon a time Thurman. I'm not gonna listen. I respect these fighters for what they did in the past, but I get on their shit for now. I don't give a fuck about the past, fam. Danny Garcia in the past was Danny Garcia. That ain't the Danny Garcia now, because that Danny Garcia now struggled with the fucking Ivan Red catch. What do you think Terence Crawford or Errol Spence would do to Ivan Red catch? Keep it real.
Are any of the welterweights right now, the current welterweight crop, and I'm talking about Terence Crawford, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Shawn Porter, Errol Spence Jr., except surprisingly, in my opinion, Shawn Porter, you can make a strong argument all of them are regressing. By that logic.
Facts.
But I don't like that. I feel like that's just discrediting them. I think that's
but Danny Garcia is heavily regressing, fam. He's regressing. Listen, some guys regress slower and some guys regress faster. And the reason I would agree with you, with your sentiment and your ideology, is the simple fact that what do you have to do to not regress? You have to fight better. And none of them really fighting anybody right now. The two best.
Except Porter. I don't think he's regressing.
Yeah, but that's what I was just about to say. The two best guys that fought on their competition was Porter and Spence. That's what I was just about to say. But the rest of them, can we say that about them? It's what I say about Tank. Tank has all the potential in the world, but that little motherfucker's not going to get better unless he start fighting guys on his level and above his level. He can't keep fighting these little smaller guys. The same with Crawford. You already have your skills. You're solidified. You're proven. But at 147, you're not going to get better at this weight class fighting beneath you, because the same rules apply to him. What do you get? What happens, Crawford, when you get in there with a guy whose hands is just as fast as yours, who can take the punch, who's just as slick as you? At that level, you get beat the shit out of, because at 147, you weren't prepared. You was fighting the Jose Benavideses. You was fighting the Javier You was fighting the Scary Khans. And then you step up there at 147 to this guy that can take more punishment than they can. It's going to punch you in between your shots as well, whose hand speed is just as fast as yours. And then they beat your ass, Crawford, because you've been fighting these low-level guys. This is what happens.
Listen, bro. Listen, man. I don't really think you understand the level. There's levels to this, bro. And when you talking about the cream of the crop in 147, Danny Garcia is in that bunch, man. And you cannot just say any of these guys gonna beat any of these guys, bro. You just talked about Keith Thurman, man. Manny Pacquiao went life and death with Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman had that one knockdown when he went straight back and got caught. Other than that, man, Keith Thurman was boxing Manny Pacquiao. That was a great fight. Manny Pacquiao won. But man, you need to put some respect on these fighters' names, bro. Look,
Danny Garcia. Manny Pacquiao supposed to go life and death with him, fam. He is 40 years old and had over 70 fights.
Look,
man, are you serious?
I don't care. Look, I don't
Come
care
on with that.
old. We talking about Manny Pacquiao. I don't care how old he is. If he was 65 and still boxing and still winning, you got to put some respect on these guys' names, bro. Danny Garcia did not get up for that fight. You gonna think Danny Garcia gonna get up for this fight? Now I have Errol winning, but man, bro, Errol can get whipped. Errol can get whipped in this fight, bro.
No, yeah, because in this fight. He can get whipped if his punch resistance has changed. If his punch resistance and I don't know.
Don't blame it on no car accident. We don't want to hear nothing about no car accident.
No. Hold on for a second. See, that game. This is the thing. You can't come here with those attitudes, fam. Because I'm not on none of this bullshit. Now, I have consistently said, dog. Hold on for a second. I have consistently said from the beginning, Spence is a question to me. And this fight is going to give me the answers. All of this other shit you hear floating around from these fucking idiots and these fanboys, you can't hold me accountable for that. So if he loses this fight, and I notice that his punch resistance is different, it ain't me using shit as no excuse. Because this is what I've been consistent on. I've not jumped the gun like these fanboys. But if you just listen to what I said earlier, even about Danny Garcia, which I just told you, if his punch resistance is okay, he's going to beat Danny Garcia like a drum. But the key was if it is. If it is.
Can I respond?
Go ahead.
Listen, man. Look, bro. And I'm gonna tell you what you're doing it, and you don't even know that you're doing it. But you're making an excuse for if he get caught with a left hook and get knocked out, it's gonna be because of his punch resistance. If Danny catch him with a left hook on the jaw and knock him out, what you gonna say?
Okay, let me ask. I'm gonna say that Danny stopped him, but this is probably because of what happened to Spence in the accident.
So, and the reason I'm discrediting Danny.
Hold on, no. Hold on. And the reason I'm going to say that, is who in the top 5 have Danny stopped at 147? Who? Because we're leaning on Danny's power from 140. But when we look at everything, who has Danny stopped in the top 5 at 147? Furthermore, the argument of chins was Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, and Manny Pacquiao. This was the arguments of chins at 147. Now this guy goes and gets ejected from a car and gets his whole fucking grill cracked. And we're not supposed to think that it would compromise that? Get the fuck out of here, fam. Like, let's be realistic.
It's not that you're not supposed to or not allowed to think. Just when you're going to be calling him a tune-up fight beforehand, or like he's not worthy.
I said if.
And then if. Yeah. And then if he knocks him out, not everything has to be precedented, right? Look at an example of a fighter. I'll just mention Jose Ramirez. I think we can agree he's solid power. But I don't know how many people genuinely expected him to stop Maurice Hooker. Do you want to ask who else he stopped in title fights? Nobody. The only person he stopped in a title fight has been a champion. So not everything has to be precedented. It could just be a styles thing. Errol Spence Jr., I mean, he's not known for his immaculate defense or anything. And if you want to talk about if he doesn't have knockout power, Keith Thurman out of his own mouth said the strongest single punch he's been hit with was a left hook from Danny Garcia, but he blocked it. He said had he not blocked it, he worries what would have happened. So it's not that this guy doesn't have power. Maybe he hasn't gotten a knockout, but knockout isn't necessarily indicative of power. Would you say Canelo has power at 160? Who is he knocked out at 160 then?
All right.
Then he goes up to KO's Kovalev.
Slow down. Let me ask you this, because I already know the road you're going down. Is Danny Garcia flat-footed?
Yeah.
Is Danny Garcia a come-forward fighter?
Sure.
Not that much. No.
I mean, he can.
He can, but not that much.
A strong suit.
Is Danny Garcia tailor-made? Hold on. Is Danny Garcia tailor-made from what you see now, because you do film study too, is he tailor-made for a fighter like Errol Spence? Because he's a counterpuncher, man. This is going to be his high rate of success against a guy like Spence. Look at the Porter fight, the aggressor, the guy that came to him. And what happened? He lost that fight. So is Danny not tailor-made for a guy like Errol Spence? If by doing your film study, and dude, you're doing real good in the fucking league. So don't tell me you don't see what the fuck I see. Is he not tailor-made
I
for
think
a
Errol
guy
Spence.
like Spence?
I think Errol Spence's style is complementary towards Danny's, right?
Yeah, exactly. None to say
No. I'm not saying he's tailor-made. I would say it's very favorable for Spence. However, if Danny Garcia brings the right game plan, Spence is a come-forward fighter. Like I just said, he's not known for his defense. He could just get countered and dropped. And theoretically, let's say he just gets hit with a punch he doesn't see and stop, right? It's boxing. This can happen. I don't think it'll happen. It could happen. I'm not going to be the one to discredit Danny Garcia. Now, you can mention it, but I'm not going to be discrediting Danny Garcia.
Well,
that's my only argument.
Right. Okay. I got you. You're not going to be the one that's going to be discrediting Danny Garcia. Fine and dandy, right? Fine and dandy. But I just got a quick question for you, right? Quick question for you. Let me see. Keith Thurman, Brandon Rios, Shawn Porter, Adrian Granados, and Ivan Redkach. When you look at those last fights of Danny Garcia, his past 5 fights, which one of those did he come in with a good game plan?
Adrian Granados.
Thank you. So 4-1, the chances is he's going to come in with a good fucking game plan.
I thought you meant which one did he come in with the best? I thought you meant best game plan.
These hypotheticals with fucking Danny Garcia, dog. He's going to get his ass whooped. And I don't give a fuck what nobody says. See, this is the thing. How many people saying, what was the guy that the motorcycle crash? Valero.
Valero, right? Yeah.
How many people saying he was never the same after the crash? That's just what happens to fighters. So how at the same time we say this, but we're not going to question or at least want to see what Spence looks like in this fight? How the fuck are we going to say? Because people accept it. Look, Spence may never be the same again. But then don't make that a reason of why he may have lost the fight. They're already assuming he may never be the same again because of the accident. But if he loses the fight, we can't take that into account. Stop this bullshit, bro. Like this is the nonsense that I'm talking about. Because there are people who saying this already. That Danny might knock him out, man. That accident, I just don't know. But then if Danny knock him out, no, well, you can't put it on the accident. What the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I don't really care to. I don't want to do that.
Well, that's my point. That's why I kept it consistent from the beginning. And you got to be consistent. We need to, even though he was my boy, I was like, nah, we need to see what Spence looks like. And I didn't give a fuck if it was versus a Danny Garcia, if it was versus you guys, if it was versus whoever he got in the ring with. We have to see what this dude, Chen, looks like before I start making any assessment of what he is. But then when I found out it was Danny Garcia, I was like, whoa, that's probably a dangerous way to find out what your chin is like. But okay, if he makes it through this Danny Garcia fight, then okay, he's back. That's how I'm looking at it. If he doesn't, I'm going to assume something was wrong from the accident, because had he never had that accident, and I asked the same people that, who would have picked Danny Garcia over Spence before the accident? After Spence beat Porter, nobody would have picked Danny Garcia to beat Spence. No fucking body would have.
That's not true. There's at least one person.
Okay, yeah, come on, bro. I ain't talking about the SFT silly ass. Of course he would have. I know he would have. But I mean, like, seriously, the consensus would have been Spence was going to win. For one, Danny Garcia step-up fights at 147. Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman, he lost both of them. Spence beat one of the guys he lost to. And people just thought Spence was better anyway. So no accident. The consensus would have been Spence is going to beat this guy anyway. The only fucking reason people thinking that Danny has a chance now is the fucking accident. But we can't say that the accident might be why he fucking lost. What the fuck is wrong with people, dog? I don't understand how the fuck this makes sense to me. Like, nobody really gave Danny a chance, but because of the accident. If it wasn't for the accident, none of these motherfuckers. You even hear people saying shit like this. Well, before the accident, hell no, I wouldn't give that. But now that Spence had, you even hear people starting off their assessment of who's going to win this fight. I would say Spence before the accident, but now I don't know. This is how they start off their assessment of this fight. Then Spence gets knocked out. Nope, don't mention the accident.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think it'll be competitive. I think maybe Danny will surprise people, but I'm still personally going to favor Spence. He could be ruined. We don't know, but I doubt he'd take this fight if he was.
He doesn't feel that he is. He looks great. Okay, he looks great. He looks in shape. He's been staying around 160. I believe him and all of that. And he said he's had an epiphany. Understands like this is second chance at life. I guess this is how the kid is looking, or the dude is looking at it, right? So physically, he looks great and everything. And just like Boone and a lot of other boxers and fighters that I've talked to said the same thing, that once you get into sparring, and I've talked to MMA fighters about this, I've asked around, once you get into sparring, you know, depending on the type of sparring you do, sometimes you have light sparring, sometimes you have when you go in there, you get it in. And he said, once you get there, you learn most of what you need to know about yourself before you go into that fight. Now, I don't know if Spence and his guys have been in that type of sparring yet, but once they get there, they'll know before they go into Danny Garcia fight. And Spence said he's not holding back, fam. He's going to do the same type of sparring regimen he was doing before. What does that mean? He's going to be fighting light heavyweights in the fucking ring. This is what he's going to do. He's going to get in there with light heavyweights and bang it the fuck out. And I'm going to tell y'all motherfuckers right now, you can say Danny Garcia hits as hard as you fucking want to say he hits. But if Spence sparring session with these fucking light heavyweights go as they went before, Danny Garcia's getting his fucking ass whipped. Because he's not hitting like no fucking light heavyweight. Probably not even a lower level light heavyweight. Let's keep it real, bro. His power is not even officially proven at 147 because, again, who the fuck is he knocked out in the top 5 at 147? Nobody. I mean, let's keep it real. If Spence fucking is in sparring session with light heavyweights and middleweights, and he's taking hits from them, I'm not trying to hear shit about he not ready for that fight, bro. He'll be ready for that fight. And I think that they'll find a lot of that out. No telling what they've been doing, but they feel super confident that this guy is going to be ready for the Danny Garcia fight. And the only thing I'm saying is, before the accident, there was nothing in my mind that told me he wouldn't be the Danny Garcia. So why would I think anything less of Danny winning except the accident now? Why would I think anything different? And anybody else for real? Because ain't nothing in y'all mind thought that Danny Garcia would fucking beat Spence. Y'all all would have picked Spence. Everybody in the fucking prediction league right now, if he never had that accident and they're having this fight, every fucking one of y'all would have picked Spence to win. Don't even start that shit. So now what would be the difference in the decision now? And keep it 100. It would be the fucking accident. So I'm just saying, bro, that's why, like I say, IBT. That's why I say, what I do here, people say what the fuck they want to say. I just keep it consistent, fam. That's all. I just keep it consistent. I don't think you can go wrong that way. It can't come back and bite you in the ass. You understand? When people go over their word or say some bullshit, it'll come back and bite you in your ass, bro.
Yeah, so first, Shizbiz has a good comment, which is, what top 147 fighter has been stopped, period. And I agree. I think all these guys can have power, but none of the top guys have really been stopped. But Scott Brown has corrected you. He said Rod Salka was at welterweight, so. Rod Salka?
Oh, yeah, that was. Oh, yeah, I remember Salka. That was a big name. But I did say his last 5 fights, though, Scott. And I went down the list, too. I said Rios, Keith Thurman, Rios, Porter, Granados, and Red Cats. If you talking about yeah. But anyway, man.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of the top, like none of the elite welterweights have been stopped though. So I don't know if I mean, does that just say none of them have power? I'd say Keith, Spence, and Danny have serious power. Porter's got respectable power, but he's more strong than he has a strong punch. You know what I mean?
Which one of them did he drop then? Because he's fought the two top ones. Did he drop Keith Thurman?
No.
Did he drop Shawn Porter?
Well, Shawn Porter doesn't get dropped often, in fairness.
Okay. Did he drop Keith Thurman? Did he drop Shawn Porter? No. Errol Spence at least dropped Shawn Porter.
So did Broner, though.
We ain't talking about Broner.
Well, I'm
just saying. See, this is this.
Are we
hold on. No. You gotta let me get my point out, and then you'll hear where I'm coming from. This is what the people that make the argument do, bro. They say, well, who has he stopped in his division? Now, we can't, I hear Ring IQ make these arguments. I hear a lot of these guys, especially these historians, make these arguments when we're talking about Wilder. Who have they stopped in their division? Who have they stopped in their division? Right? But now this shit evades us when we talk about Crawford. When we talk about Danny Garcia. I don't give a rat's ass what they did at 140. What have they done at 147? That motherfucker has not shown the power that people know he has or think he has at 147. He's shown it at 140. I'm not saying he doesn't have pop. I'm not saying that. But say what you will. Shawn Porter might have got right back up, but you seen it in slow motion. That was a knockdown. Spence cracked his ass. Danny Garcia caught Shawn Porter clean the same because I did a video on that. He caught him clean, flush punch the same. Now he rocked Shawn Porter, but he didn't drop Shawn Porter. Spence dropped Shawn Porter. But everybody's saying this Danny Garcia power. Again, we don't fucking know these things, fam. We don't fucking know these things. This Danny Garcia power. Why? Because Keith Thurman lying ass said he hits hard. This motherfucker lie about everything. He does.
Okay, man. Okay. D, thanks for having me on. I gotta bounce for a minute.
Yeah, I gotta bounce too, though. But appreciate you coming through. Game. I know you want to come and talk about something, fam.
No, I had to jump off and I jumped back on, man. This is hilarious, bro. Well, I'm glad boxing is back, man. I'm gonna let you close the show out. But yeah, man, salute, fam. Salute. Good chop.
All right, bro. I appreciate y'all coming on with me, man. So just to end this thing, guys. Shawn Porter ranked #1 by the WBO. I say so the fuck what. I don't really care. I don't really care about the mandatory situation. I just say it's another incentive in my book for Crawford to make a fight with him. Whether he takes the incentive or not, whether he takes the hint or not, because it appears the WBO wants you to fight him. You idiot. This is a fight you need, Terence Crawford. So take the fight. Forget about Brook. Take the fight. Make it right. Y'all know how I always end this thing. For the love of sports, let's talk about it. Peace.